Buy, deliver with the two-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester, Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasing the Racing.
Three, two, one, and welcome back to Chasing the Racing, episode 72.
Two. Let's go with two. Two is a good number. Let's go with that.
We're joined by Zoe Burn from UKCLUBSPORT, and we'll have a catch-up episode on everything that's been happening over the last few weeks, because literally it has not stopped. Between BSB, MotoGP, World Superbikes, obviously Olivers Mount and Cookstown the other day, every single weekend you're like... As bike fans, you're stuck for choice at the moment. So we'll have a
Don't cry, Zoe.
Before we get on to the racing crack, you had a good week. Been up to much?
Oh, I've been living life in a slow hell.
Different
girl every night in a hotel.
Where you
haven't seen the sun for 3 damn days, Chrissy. Name that song.
I've got no idea.
Oh, damn it. Someone, can you name that song?
No, I can't.
Oh, God, I'm hanging around with a bunch of uneducated fools here. They are Kid Rock. Oh, my God, I've just said that live on. A bit of Kid Rock, yeah, damn right. There we go. But no, just cutting trees and general farting on, mate. No, just starting to get cancelled now, isn't it? Pembury, our final round with the Classic Club, that got scrubbed due to coronavirus.
So does that mean that you're a champion, Dom?
You're damn right. You got some shoes to fill, young.
Congratulations.
I'm the first champion in here.
Is that your first British championship then?
For that it is, yeah. So
just in general,
just for that it is.
Yeah, no, for the 350, I was told. So someone's going to kindly put me right on this. Someone told me it actually counts as kind of a British championship because it's the 350, the only class going on. Now, to be fair, when I'm saying this live on the podcast, it does smell like bullshit. So coming to the realisation of that, yes, I have won a championship, Chrissy. But if you want to tell all your friends it was a British title, by all means, please, that would be fantastic. So
congratulations.
Thank you very much, Zoe.
It's definitely a national, isn't it?
It's definitely a national. So winning a championship is a championship.
I was thinking about this the other day. Do you know if you win like a stock championship, that's a national championship. If you win Super Sport, it's British Super Sport, and there's a big difference. Yeah. What is the difference between a British championship and a national championship?
Mainly the spelling, but bar that.
Yeah. Do you know the actual?
In what way?
Oh,
there's a definite, like, you're a British champion if you win Super Sport or Super Bikes, but you're a national champion if you win Stock 1000, Stock 600.
Because that's got British written on it and yours has got national written on it.
I know what is the difference between that? The race at the same weekends, like same tracks, like.
I've got it. The paycheck.
Stock 1000's never been British, has it? It's always been national.
If you win the MotoStar, that's a British championship.
But that's the top MotoStar, and the Super Sport's the top 600, and the Super Bikes is the top 1000 in the country. That's
and the 350s is the only 350s, so it is a British championship. We'll go with that.
Well, it's been a good night. Thank you very much. I'm off.
That Dom Herbertson merchandise is just going up in price as we sit here.
Yeah, people are wiping their arse with it right now. So there we go.
Flat out or not?
Flat out or not?
That's nout. That spells nout. Anyway, right. So Zoe, aka this bitch, basically walked in as a lovely merchandise for our 130 club. God love you all, and thank you so much for not obviously pointing out the horrible spelling on it. But no, Zoe's come in, kindly ruined my life, which is great.
But at least you know now.
Yeah, but you know that's like finding out your girlfriend's got the clap. You know, you don't really want to know and how she got it or anything, so you might as well keep the secret to yourself. But anywho. About Nout. How the devil are you, Zoe? After I've just openly gone down your throat.
Just come in here and totally peed on your parade. So I'm feeling great now.
That's how you do it, Zoe. That's how you do it.
Obviously, you said Pembury's been cancelled. Is that you finished for racing this year then, or have you got anything else in the pipeline?
Well, basically, I'm going to the centre of the universe tomorrow to play around with gods and goddesses. Lovely little place called Towlow.
Ooh.
I mean,
you mentioned this in the last
I mentioned this, right? Basically, it's a shithole on the top of a hill. It's fantastic. So I'm off to do my first motocross race. So I'm racing for Team Stat. Sugar Cube is my crew chief. Now, basically, he's a 10-year-old boy with an attitude, but my God, he can ride a bike.
I've heard about this kid.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
He doesn't have an attitude. He's just
so this is your
just fast. And Sugar Tits is going to help him.
Very first motocross race, then.
Yeah, it's going to be dishing out. So the last time I was on a motorcycle, I was going upside down on it. Funny enough, on Sugar Cube's bike, and bent the bars. Haven't replaced the bars yet. So this is going to go down really well when I meet them at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning at the centre of the universe on top of a hill where it's going to be freezing. He's going to beat me myself to death with those broken handlebars, so it's not going to go really well.
So
when I
what's-
insert them up my arse. There you go.
What's the do you know like what class you're going to be riding in? Do you know like the order of the?
Well, basically, there's a rumour flying around that I'm too fast for the A group, so they've put me down in the C group.
Right.
So, and now I've only just recently learned this I'm not sure if it's all throughout all the classes. We'll have to give Sugar Tits a ring and find out the full facts. But it may be only club level that it's A, B and C? I have no idea. So there's A, B and C. So A is like the elite group, B is like the intermediates, and C's the
knackers.
The knacker, well, yeah, basically, it's definitely the knacker class now that I'm there. So it's going to be...
And what aspirations going into it?
Well, basically, I've bought a new wheelbarrow to put all my trophies in. So I'm well up for it. So if anyone wants to have a look at YouTube later on, Chrissy will no doubt watch me elegantly fall from the sky.
Excellent.
So it's going to be emotional.
I look forward to reading about that in the October issue of
UK Club
Certain
Sport. There
magazine,
we
yeah.
go. So I'll be writing it from my hospital bed, no doubt. So this will be a right good laugh.
It beats the van in a lay-by on a Saturday night, Dom.
No. That's my time. That's a very special time for me and my lay-by.
And in terms of road racing, is that you finished or have you got anything lined up?
No, that's with Cookstown finishing and Olivers Mount finishing. That's it for that. But Macau is apparently still going to be happening. Now, the rumour mill, we all love the rumour mill. This is not from the horse's mouth, but apparently they've only got 8 entries.
I wonder who they are.
They need... That's the interesting thing, who they are. Because I've heard a lot of the rock stars, the big rock stars, haven't put an entry in yet. Because the way they want you to do it is because of this global damn pandemic. They want you to sit in a hotel room, so you can't even go... you haven't got a roommate or anything like that. You have to be in a hotel room by yourself for 2 weeks. Not even allowed to go out the hotel. You're not allowed out the room in the hotel. You can't walk around, nothing. 2 weeks. I've done less time than that. You know what I mean? I can't even stay in my shoes all day, never mind a hotel room.
Mm-hmm. So are you not one of those 8?
No, definitely. Oh, no. Well, unfortunately, the bike I was going to be racing on, the team, they can't do it. They really can't do it. So I'll tell you now. I was going to go with Captain Kawasaki. On the ADSS Kawasaki. So they came up and said, we've got a bike, do you want to go? And I'm thinking, bloody hell, yeah, of course I want to go. They always put a fantastic bike, well, they're their own bikes, but they do a fantastic job of them. And I thought, match made in heaven, really. But unfortunately, they've got jobs, I've got jobs, and when you think that's 2 weeks in quarantine, then you've got a week of riding, and then it's like the travelling involved in that, then you have to quarantine when you get back here.
And if you have a race like last year...
Well, that's it. Now, if everything goes right at Macau, everything runs absolutely to the dot, it works out as 2.5 hours riding.
It's a lot of...
That's a long way to go for that. Don't get me wrong, it is a fantastic event. If you ever get the opportunity to go, it is unreal. I know when we did the last Macau review, I was talking about the smell, but also that was on one particular part of the track. It was honestly, you just go anyway. You'll have to go back to that episode to listen to it.
I'll go and look that one up.
Go look that one up, exactly. But no, it's a fantastic event. It really is world class. But 6 weeks. That's a long, long time when you accumulate it all together, and a lot of teams can't do it. Mm-hmm. And when you think none of the bike races get paid to go. Mm-hmm. The car lads get paid to go. Now, to be blunt, if they paid all the lads, it would be a great opportunity for a rider's rep, because the Macau organisers are trying to see who's going and everything like that, which is all fair enough. But to be honest, in that particular situation, we need a rider's rep. So Michael Rutter would be ideal, or Peter Hickman. Obviously, it's a lot of work that they won't have time to do or anything. But one representative here as a rider going, right, who's going, who's this and that, and saying, quite frankly, being able to hand out some money. It's an island filled with billion-pound casinos.
But the problem is,
well, come on.
Can I be controversial? You've created this for yourselves by going out there for free. There's always going to be, it's the same with everything in motorbike racing, and probably all racing, that
no, you're not wrong.
If you say I'm not going to come back, there'll be another 5 or 6 people just waiting there to jump in.
That's
the problem, unfortunately.
But they had a big year of a lot of newcomers coming off, and they don't really want newcomers there. But to be honest, this is the time for that change, because when you think there's only 5 lads there who are professional riders, who get paid to be on a motorcycle, so it's a bit like if they're getting a team ride, off you go. Let's use John McGuinness. John McGuinness is a professional rider. Right, John, I want you to sit in a hotel room for 2 weeks. He's getting paid to do that. Obviously, that's not gospel. I don't know what his financial state is, but as a professional,
I'm sure he will be.
well,
Yes.
yeah, exactly. That's it. But for the rest of the grid, Derek Shields, Sweeney, Brian McCormick, like Paul Jordan,
Big Phil,
like Phil Crow. You got to think. The rest of that is a full privateer grid trying to compete at that level, and you think 6 weeks off work.
Nah.
That's what you're at. That's what you're asking. You think, well. Like, I'm self-employed, and the reason I went self-employed is to have the time off racing, but I can't, there's no way. I can't afford for next year.
Under usual circumstances, without all the quarantine shit, it's it's a good holiday at the end of the year for you, a bit of a blowout, free holiday, have a bit of a laugh, good chance for a race type of thing. But for 5-6 weeks, it isn't worth it.
I tell you what, though, that's probably one of my biggest bugbears that sometimes road racing gets.
What's that?
I know you did not mean that maliciously at all, I know that, but some people treat these events as like holiday races.
The problem is we get used to seeing the great big party shots at the end
and
of it. So what are people going to think?
In all the autobiographies I've ever read, everyone says, they go to the TT, they're making money at all the big road races, and then they go to Macau for a bit of a blowout at the end of the year.
Then they go off to Thailand for 3 weeks at the end of it. We've all seen the pictures.
No, I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but for me standing up for myself, really, it's like, especially like I get really along with Craig Neave, and we both get along with Craig Neave, and all you're looking at is sector times, track time, like this and that. How do I get better? It becomes, you're not going there. I would not go to Macau for the holiday. I can go to Stanley Crook and hop in a dodgy, you know what I mean? Hop in a dodgy hot tub and get loads of wine down my neck and have the same experience. But I want to go there and improve. And, that for me, I can't afford to go 6 weeks to try and do that improvement that year. But
speaking of Craig Neave, he's out on he's getting himself a new BMW Gen 4. So
really?
From next round, he's...
God, where's his cheddar coming from?
I think... Well, I don't know what.
Drug dealer. Spread the rumour. Everyone listen to this. Craig Neave is a drug dealer. He's tall enough and he's good looking enough to be a drug dealer. So Craig Neave, if you're listening, you're a drug dealer. So bit of a shock horror.
But top lad, Craig. I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets on the Gen 4, because he's been doing a good job on the Gen 3, but it's definitely
he's been doing
right.
Like,
he is really good, yeah.
And with the tri options as well, he's proper chomping away at it, and it's like, just shows how much work people are putting in. Like, a lot of teams, well, look at your situation. You had potentially like thinking, I could have this year out.
It'll be a canny movie, wouldn't it, at the end of the year?
But that's would be. But like, the thing is, a lot of and that is upsetting for me. A lot of teams have gone, we'll wait till next year. Everyone else is moving. There's always someone training harder, putting the time in. Chrissy, you're currently leading, may I say, magnificently, at 20,000 points ahead or something like
27.
that. 27 points ahead, son.
That's a DNF in hand.
But the thing is, it's, if you sat round and waited for something, like, no, don't get me wrong, I'm not having to go at any other teams or anything like that, but it always comes down to finances and racing. But you chose to pull your finger out your arse and look where that's where it is. Isn't it? So, like, Craig Neave's definitely doing that. He's seizing those opportunities and constantly moving the barriers, and he's constantly.
He wants to just better himself, doesn't he? That's it,
Exactly. And you think when the TT comes round, he's going to be in a. Well, put it this way: like, the facts are the facts. I'm quicker than Craig Neave on the TT at the moment. That's the thing. He's putting the track time in. He's getting everything. Like,
so he didn't do the last TT, did he? Because
no,
he was injured.
kneecap.
So of course
he was. He's a lucky lad. Like, he's a lucky, unlucky lad. But Aidan Robinson, who also writes for your lovely magazine, he's done a lot of work with him. He's done and he's got him up.
From where he came from that accident to actually what he did at the Classic, which was, he said he was going to go to the Classic. He obviously wanted to top 3 before he had the accident. Had the accident, then said, I'm going to go to the Classic, and if I finish the race, it'll be an achievement. And didn't he get like top 5s or something?
Top 5 or something like that. He was absolutely howling on that thing.
Incredible.
It was Davo Johnson's teammate. Yeah. I believe, yes, on the F1. Really good bikes. And like you say, the hunger the lad has is unreal. But he's not the only one. Like, Sweeney's bought a new bike. Derek Shields has bought the Gen 4. It's going to be the Gen 4 bleeding grid, isn't it? But
that's what McCormack's on as well, isn't it?
Brian McCormack. Yeah, now, I've just put the puzzle together. Is Feiho his main sponsor?
I'm not sure. It's
Feiho, like it's F-O-H-O.
There's something. All the garage boardings. It's a pub in Macau, I think.
I know
something Macau that sponsors the
Mint
team.
pub. That is a mint pub.
But it's not a holiday.
No, it's a mint pub. It's a mint pub. Hey, the jet lag kicks in.
Is that where you do your track notes in that?
Oh God, that's it. The Roadhouse Macau. It's actually owned by a Dubliner.
Right.
Club. So
It's like an Irish bar.
It's an Irish bar. It's a brilliant idea. You know, they've got the rock music on and everything. But really, in Macau, that's the only thing that borderline resembles home, really.
Oh,
you know what I
right.
mean? So, but it's on the other side of where it is, and it's a fantastic place. But he's a very passionate bike fan. He sponsored Daniel Hegarty as well, but like his home's never too far from Macau.
No.
So he really keeps an eye on Brian McCormick and Derek Shields, and you know the proper Southern lads.
Well, so, speaking of BSB, obviously you came down at the weekend, Oulton Park. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, well, obviously I showed Harry Truelove. He got on the podium after a good hard. I'm a full-on Motec technician, so I sat there with the laptop open, had a looked all serious for a bit, and I said, "Well, Harry, it's very simple, mate. You need to brake later and accelerate harder." And then the next race, he got on the podium. So you know that championship really is down to me. You know, I would like to take full credit for Harry's podium finish, which is outstanding.
And I suppose you're taking credit for Chrissy's win.
Oh no,
as well.
no, because I don't want to ruin him. He's doing well.
He did ride well, mind Harry, didn't he?
He was riding on the pipe. I tell you what, Bradley Perry, what a 10th to 3rd.
Was that in the second race?
The second race, what a fantastic bit of galloping on about that. But I'll tell you what, let's move all them to the side and let's talk about Christopher Rouse.
Mr. Rouse.
Fan-bloody-tastic. I've got my pervy voice on.
I know.
Fantastic. Oh yes.
It sounds great coming through the headphones.
It
That's the pervy voice.
sounds great coming from me. Yes, though, Christopher. Yes. talk dirty to me, Chrissy.
It was a good weekend, mate. Well, obviously, championship-wise, went in second and came out with a bit of a big lead. Championship-wise, it was definitely the best weekend of the year. But in terms of my positions, I've been first or second in like pretty much every race this year. So it's not like it was an exceptional for me. It just happened that my biggest rival, obviously Tom Neve on the Honda, he's been consistently first and second the rest of the year, and for some reason, really, the Honda
just
really
didn't
struggle.
like it, did it at all?
Really struggled.
Davey Todd was nowhere as well, wasn't he?
And then speaking of the Hondas,
they did well on superbikes, mind.
Yeah, they were better.
Did he pull in? Did Glenn Irwin pull in?
Yes.
Yes.
Which race was that?
Second.
First one, second one.
He was complaining about. No, hold on. Was he complaining, or was there a press release that there was a problem with vibration? That's what I've heard.
I've got no idea.
No, it was Shaky Burn talking about vibration through the bike. The lad is leading British Superbikes, which is a British title, not a national. It's he's pulled in because of vibration. That is blowing my mind. How, you know?
This is news to me. I've got no idea.
No. Wow, there you are. Take note, all listeners. Yes, I know.
No.
So no, yeah, he was complaining about vibration through the bike.
Right.
You're thinking there's got to be another problem. There's got to be vibration is vibration. You know, yeah.
I just
It must
thought the
have been
Hondas had
something
a bad day all round, really.
They
'cause
did, didn't it?
They were just not. They weren't anywhere near what they've been.
I think Andy had a mechanical and pulled in on one of them. Glenn maybe pulled in, but
Mm-hmm.
they were both running pretty decent, qualified decent, and.
But when you saw the domination of like the first couple of rounds, but they didn't test it all, did they?
No.
So, like, how important is Pacific Track? Like, you have done your homework this year, Chrissy, and it's it's showing. You know, you got the Phil Crow bike, and you just got to the grid. It's Gabriel's bike, isn't it? With Phil Crow, yes. Yeah. So anyway, you've gone to the races that you're going, and you're thinking about race pace, and that's working. But then you think, what happened to Honda? Why didn't they go to Oulton Park? But you never. How many layers are in a cake? You know, you don't know what's going on, do you?
Like, obviously, Oulton Park's definitely the most technical track that we'll go to with this year in this calendar. I went down and did a no limits meeting, but it was just one of those where I chucked the bike in. I didn't take any new tyres or like scrub tyres. I think it was like £200 for my entry fee for the day, and just used scrub tyres, bit of fuel, and that just allowed us to get, you know, my engine braking sorted, my gearing sorted, played a little bit around with the suspension stuff. So it just meant when I got to the weekend from first lap of free practice, I basically had a good package to start with. And then it was just kind of fine tuning. Now, I can't speak for anybody else, but that definitely helped me going into the weekend. And me and Matt were P1, P2 first session by like quite a bit. So my one thing that I thought was interesting this weekend, obviously we're racing at Oulton Park every year. I've raced Superstock 1000 numerous times there. The lap times this weekend were nothing special at all. And I don't know
Is
if
that throughout all the classes?
Well, Superbikes obviously having problems with chatter. Stock 600 times were poor. Stock 1000 times were poor. Last year, the lap record got broken by Lee Jackson with a 36.2 32, I think it was. Fastest lap of the weekend this weekend was me with a 37.0. Now, 2 years ago...
Hold on, are you talking about outright you were the fastest man of that weekend?
Stock
I was about to say, fair play, young
So,
man.
so 2 years ago, in 2018, my first lap in free practice 1 was a 37.3. That would have been pole position in qualifying this year, and that was my out. That was like I did my out lap, and my first lap in free practice 1 would have put us on pole. I don't know why the lap times were off. I don't know if it was the track. I don't know if it was the conditions. But Richard Cooper's been in the 35s around there on a stock 1000, and I qualified on a 37.0, but like a 38.0 would have put you in like the top 6 type of thing. The times were like really off.
So Cooper's done it. How's he getting on? Does anyone know? I think I saw an X-ray on social media.
I saw an X-ray today actually, but we're going to have to give him a ring. We gave him last month off. I'm pestering him, but we have to bother him again.
You can always compare it against previous years, and for example at Snetterden, my race time was virtually identical to Richard Cooper's last year over the same laps. Silverstone were faster, but the track seemed a bit faster. Donington were about the same.
Is that because that'll be track temperature? That surely, because Silverstone's normally the first round, isn't it?
Yeah, that could be all the. I'm not sure all.
Not always. Sometimes it's the last round.
But for this round, I don't know why times just seem to be quite a bit off.
Could it be? I was going to say, could it be because the track hasn't been used as much, but no tracks have been used as much, so you've not got that.
Yeah, like you say,
or could it be that you've had less time to, which is something I was wanting to talk about anyway, but we'll come back to that, is like because no one's really had those first few rounds to get dialed in like they do normally. Is it because you haven't had as many races when you've got there? Normally this round you've already done 6 or 7 rounds, haven't you, by the time you get to Walton for the second time in the year?
But the point I'm making is, like, last year I was faster and I got 2 4th positions and I was like scratching. This weekend I was comfortably the fastest person all weekend, and like won the second race comfortably, and I didn't even like have to go into the 36s. Like I don't know, like I said, I don't know why, but the lap times were just a little bit off. But obviously, from the championship point of view, it was the perfect weekend for me. I was kind of thinking if I could beat Tom in both races, say if I won both races and Tom was second in both races, I would have a 2-point lead right now. And right now I've got a 27-point lead. So obviously it was a bit of a disaster for him, but even though that sounds like a big lead, one mistake, one mechanical, and it's back to square one. So you've got to be complacency, no complacency. And we'll go to Donington. We've got 3 races left. Anything can happen.
Hold on. Is this the last round?
No,
there's Brands on.
2 at Donington, 1 at Brands left. So 3 races to go, and so
right,
it's all to play for.
Now, I have to mention. It was my first pole position, by the way, of the year, which I was very happy with. I've been on the front row every round, but it was my first actual pole position.
In stock 1000?
From a qualifying, I think, altogether in stock 1000. Because I'm not usually a qualifier. I'm always a Sunday man.
He's a Sunday man.
And but on the first race on the Saturday, set off from pole position, led for the first few laps, and then I was coming out of Shell Oils, and do you know this on the Gen 4 BMWs we've got a shift cam? So basically the cam's got like a setting for low RPM, and then when it gets to about 9,000-10,000 it shifts across, and it's like a camshaft for like which is better for high RPM. Well, I came out of Shell Oils and it felt like hitting the pit limiter. So I came out and that's kind of, and I obviously shit myself looking down. I tried changing gear, and then eventually it just popped back out and just carried on going. And I thought, that's weird. So then it happened again, and I lost the lead. And then I went miles back, and it was just on and off all race. But it was happening in the weirdest places. And obviously, every time it was happening, you're like, that there's loads of bikes behind coming at you fast. And I was so lucky to finish that race. I did actually manage to finish second, but unbelievably lucky.
Yep. Now, do you start that race off with this system turned off?
What system, sorry?
So you're talking about the cam shift?
The shift cam, yeah.
So you start the races with that turned off?
You can't turn it on and off. It's just, the shift cam is built into the bike. So the camshaft's got 2 settings on, and after like 9,000-10,000 it shifts across. You can't turn it off and on.
So that is a constantly active bit of equipment?
Yeah.
All right. Because normally on like all the bikes now, you can just turn everything off and make it full whiskey. You can't do it with that bike though, so it's always in play on that on that side of
Yeah,
things.
you've got to run it, and like when the bike went on the dyno afterwards, it wouldn't go past like 10,000. So so lucky, but yeah, it was just a sensor. I think it was like 500 quid this sensor. So I changed it for the next day, and it was absolutely bang on.
That's it. Wouldn't you love to be the guy in HR, like who makes the prices up for something? It's mental because I remember
500 for this sensor.
Well, no, like I remember the Gen 3 one. Our price of a rear subframe, right, at 480 quid brand new for a rear subframe for that thing. The front subframe, 60 quid. You know what I mean? They have the good cop and the bad cop there going, it's 60 quid, pussy. Put 400 quid, we need some money.
Have you seen the new BM, the MRR?
It's got wings. I'm in.
Have you seen?
It's got wings.
That, Zoe? It's
No.
it just got released yesterday. So
Haven't seen it.
BMW have brought out. Do you know how you've got like the V4R for Ducati type of thing? It's like the racing version, so it's a bit extra power, bit extra this, bit extra that.
It's just more buttons on it.
It is.
I think is it 32 grand or 35 grand or something? But it's a beautiful bit of kit. It's got the wings for the aero system. Looking at the dyno graphs, it doesn't actually look much different to the current bike, to be honest.
I tell you what made me laugh about it. It's got hill start assist.
You
Okay, let me put this straight. Anyone who's listening to this, listen carefully. If you need hill start assist, you should not be on a motorcycle, period. That is the damn truth of it. You know what I mean? Go buy yourself a Honda Goldwing and get some feelings and go away. What the hell? Hill start assist. Oh, it's a 30 grand bike. Assistance, please. Like, what's going on with that? Bring back the full whiskey. There you go.
But yeah, I think it's a good few horsepower extra, like higher RPM. I think it's driving to like 15.1 or something. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm sure that'll come into play next season with the superbikes. BMW's really struggling in superbikes, both in BSB and World Superbikes. And really, if you take like Crow Performance out of the equation, they wouldn't really be doing a great deal in Superstock either. So like, I think we're sort of flying the flag for BMW at the moment.
You are. Totally.
If anyone from Germany or Munich is listening, I'm trying to. What's hello in German?
I
I don't speak German.
I barely speak English. Never mind German. So there you go.
don't know why you're looking at me.
Oh, wow.
It's not Team America. Oh wow. A durga.
I don't know.
Anyway, we're off
I'm trying to think.
subject
I was
about
trying to speak
motorcycles.
Dutch, but I can't even think what it is.
Anyway, rest of the superbikes. First time all season, Rory Skinner. You said Rory Skinner wasn't going to get beat by.
I know. I didn't think he was going to get
He
beat.
got pipped. Now, newsflash. I think I've heard on the rumour mill that obviously we've been curious to why Brad Jones has been off the pace all year. Now I believe that they found something with the bike that hasn't been quite right, and he's been riding with a bike that
All right.
I don't know the specific details, but basically they've found something that hasn't been right with the bike, which is why it hasn't been performing to where
So
we would
what
Now,
expect.
but look at the results he's
Found it.
getting.
So what
And
they've done is they've knocked Rory's back, so it's in the same state.
So
Some fag in the tank.
because it must have been frustrating
Slowing
for
down a
Brad
bit.
because Brad is a top class racer.
Seriously.
He followed Jack Kennedy home at pretty much every race last year, and it's not that Rory's lifted the lap times and Brad's been doing
I
the
was about
same
to
lap
ask,
times.
is-
Brad's been much slower than what he was last year, and now he's got his bike sorted. He's straight back to being at the front, and there was nothing between him and Rory all weekend, and it was nice.
It was nice and close, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was great.
for a change.
I tell you what, Lee Johnson, he's just becoming my favourite rider ever. You know what I mean? He's just come from roads. That's the thing. Sometimes you end up becoming a road rider, and you almost get signed off as that's it. You're a road rider. You're not really a fast short circuit rider. Lee Johnson hasn't been in the short circuit game for really a long time, like properly having a go at it. He's banging out podiums, man, now. It's fantastic. I know we keep mentioning it on the show, but it is fantastic to see.
It is, and I'm actually planning a feature for the next edition. So if anyone listens, I'm not copying Dom because I've already got the feature lined up. It's my cover feature for the next edition.
Oh, there we go then. There we go.
Speaking of that team, mind, I was following Jenny Timothy qualifying, and she took the front down. So at Open Park, you come round turn 1 in 3rd up to 4th, flat out, rev limit at 4th, shut off through like over a right kink. I think it's called down the avenue. It used to have trees by it, and she took the front like real fast place. The bike cartwheel down the hill, crossed down by the grass. Keith Farmer did it years ago on the PBM bike, and then it went back across the track. But that bike, she didn't race the rest of the weekend. And I seen she had the bike herself back at the workshop and got it all fixed up on Sunday. So fair play to her.
She doesn't hang about.
Be good to get Jenny on the show one time. I think
Definitely.
get a female racer perspective.
There we go. So if you're listening, Jenny, get yourself signed up. But I tell you what, Keith Farmer, what a fantastic return.
I know. So
he popped his shoulder or something like that.
Should have been really out for the rest of the season after an injury that he had at Donington Park. But after no time, he was back on a motocross bike and then back on the superbike. No, I mean, considering his injury, he did a good job. But obviously, he would expect a lot better than if he was at full fitness. He would expect a lot better.
But I mean, like, he's just jumped straight back in, both feet in the deep end there, hasn't he? And he's done absolutely fantastic.
Speaking of, you mentioned just before Jack Kennedy. He's done a decent enough job, hasn't he?
Yeah. So Kennedy obviously was with the tag Yamaha. They've pulled out for the rest of the season. Dan Linfoot's obviously been standing for Richard Cooper on the Batham's bike. And
he's selling one, isn't he?
The Batham's team. They're selling Taylor Mackenzie's, I think, old bike.
Weren't you trying to flog it, or were you share it? I'm sure
I shared it, yeah. Dom commented on it.
Kiss off.
I tell you what, if anyone wanted a Gen 4, that is a good bit of kit for like 22 grand, I think it was up for. I don't know if that's the starting bid, but really that's like, that to build that bike in that spec's got to be over 30 grand.
You don't step in the studio without 22 grand, you man.
30 odd grand, so that would be a good buy for anyone after one.
Speaking of buys, Chrissy got pillows. Buy. New pillows.
They are cool for the
nice, aren't they?
For the YouTube video. But the rest of Jack Kennedy. So
bike.
He was left without a ride, and the RAF team have put another bike out alongside Ryan Vickers. And for his first time on the bike, he did a pretty decent job.
Really well.
Qualified well. The races didn't really go to plan, but showed sort of glimmers.
He beat Ryan quite a lot of the weekend, didn't he?
I'm sure he
Don't know
pulled in
whether
with
he beat him at the end.
I'm sure he had a problem with his tyre. He pulled in with a big lump out of his tyre or something. It's a bit of a weird one this year with the tyres, all the chatter problems that super bikes are having, and it all seems to be based around these tyres.
I was about to say, the Somerset swear box, Tommy Bridewell there, he was whinging about the front tyre, wasn't he?
But imagine being in a position though where you like dominated the racing last year, you've got the bike set up perfectly, and then the next time you come, you're like battling for like a 12th, 13th, and the only difference is the tyres. It must be really... But on the flip side...
everybody at some point, doesn't it? Though?
On the flip side of that, do you know if there wasn't a one-make tyre series, so if there was competition amongst the tyres, you get about 2 or 3 teams that get by far the best tyres, and basically it doesn't matter how good you set your bike up, you're never going to be able to compete with other teams purely on tyres. So in the interest of fairness, it's good,
brilliant.
But it's a shame that, but then again, from a fan's point of view, the fact that the Ducatis are dominating this year, it makes it more exciting at the end of the day.
It's like we were talking about the whole series. It's just this year, I tell you what, lockdown has been by far, in my opinion, the best racing we've ever had.
This year.
Yeah. It's been a condensed season, and it's just like a bunch of rabbits on heat.
You want to try
everyone's just away, like.
You want to try writing about the bloody things.
I know. In terms of predictions, mind, it's so difficult to predict where people are.
No, you can't call any of them.
Like MotoGP, the only person that's making it boring, and it's horrible to say that, but he is. Jonathan Rea is the only thing that's been consistently fast, isn't he? He's just up there, off he goes, and Scott Redden was the only person that was giving him a chase. But bar that, you look at MotoGP, is it 7 different winners now?
Yeah.
7 different winners. Privateer teams coming to the front and all sorts, left, right, bangs.
I think MotoGP has been fascinating.
It's brilliant.
It's fascinating because, one, I've been right again. The Quartararo was not going to dominate, as everybody said he was going to. And I only said that because I felt... After last year, everyone was like, this is the next multiple world champion. He's going to beat Marquez. He's going to do this. And I said, not necessarily, because last year he had no pressure. This year, the pressure's on. And even with Marquez gone, it's not happening for him.
Just before we move on from BSB, just want to give a quick shout out to Lee Jackson, who got his first podium since 2018, I think.
Legend.
And a very, very good ride. Also, Jason O'Halloran was phenomenal all weekend.
Two wins back to back there.
And Christian Idden was actually the highest point scorer of the winner of the weekend, if you like, consistently banging in the seconds. So But the championship's so close at the moment. So we've got Glenn Irwin on the Honda with 178 points. Jason O'Halloran's only 2 points behind now with 176.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Josh Brooks, Mr. Consistency, is 103rd with 168, so only 10 points behind. Christian in 166, nothing between them. Then there is a bit of a jump to Bridewell, and then Mackenzie, Ride, Jackson, Andy Irwin, Danny Buchan, Bradley Ray, and Luke Mossey. So yeah, they're really, really tight. But
it's all tasty.
It's
tasty.
Just before we move on from BSB as well, from the next round, obviously Alex Olsen's out with injury at the moment.
How is he doing? Yeah,
He's recovering okay, big
Good.
operations, I think,
Good.
but he's on the mend. Marcus Reitenberger is going to be standing in with the, I think it's called the Global Reach. Is it Global Reach? Smith's BMW.
The Global Robots.
Global Robots.
Because they used to sponsor Colin Parker in club racing. But that's just
the font of all knowledge.
That's just me pointing that out.
So-
Hi Parks, we'll miss you.
So
Miss
he's going to be standing in with teammates as Peter Hickman. Now, Marcus Reitenberger is a European Superstock 1000 champion. He's multiple IDM champion. He actually works, I think, for Alpha Racing, like developing parts, and all the wheelie control and everything on the BMW is all developed through Marcus Reitenberger. He is a top BMW rider. Now, I'm quite interested to see how he's going to get on. So I went back and I looked. The last time he raced at Donington was in Superstock 1000, European Superstock 1000. He did exactly the same time as what Scott Redden won the Superbike race last year, 1:29.0. He did that on a stock bike. Now, I know the 2018. I know the European rules are a little bit more open than the British rules, but that's still stock tyres and not a Superbike engine. And he matched. He basically would have been battling with Scott Redden on them times on the PBM bike. So the only thing is, obviously, I don't think he's ever ridden without the electronics. So he's used to, the full traction, full wheelie. So I'm not expecting him just to, jump on and be amazing.
You're a gambling man.
He is coming over with the Alpha Racing team are basically coming with him. So all the sort of the technicians and everything. So if anyone's going to get that bike working, I think it will be him. And it'll be interesting to see if he pulls Hickman along. Them two are actually racing in the at Estoril, the 12-hour race today in the World Endurance Book.
Is that actually happening right now as we speak?
It was on this morning. It'll have finished by now. Peter Hickman actually crashed and buggered their race up. He lost like seven positions in the pit. They had to change the rear swinging arm, and they had a swinging arm with a wheel and a shock and everything, and literally just bolt in. It was quite impressive to watch.
I'm more interested. Did you say Peter Hickman crashed?
Yes.
Hickey never crashes.
I know. It was a real slow, like weird crash. I don't know if a cold tire or something. It didn't look like he was pushing at all, and the front just folded. But like I said, back to Marcus Reitenberger. I've heard people think he's going to do amazing. I've heard people saying he'll do nothing. It's going to be really interesting.
Are you gamblers? Are you gambling?
I'm not. But
I like the odd game of bingo, Dom.
I tell you what. But I know I've never gambled in my life. The first time I gambled was only a couple of weeks ago with Chris Barnes from DC Racing. Won my first $5, so naturally I'm hooked and think I'm going to retire as a gambler. And we're going to put some money on it. Let's put £1. Feeling flush.
What on?
Feeling flush. I
think he could be
on him doing well or not.
A good weekend, I think, if he could get top BMW. So maybe top 10, top BMW. I think to just jump on the bike and be in the top 6 would be remarkable. But can you remember Barbara when he
put
first
£1
came?
on it, he'd be on the podium.
Barbara was on pole on the Kawasaki. Thought he was going to be like right at the front of BSB, and then he's never really done anything.
I'll put £1 on it. That'll be on the podium.
Right.
You're feeling tasty.
Go on, I'll give you £1. So
let's do an elbow thing. All the kids are doing it. Yeah.
So £1. I give you £1 if he gets a podium. You give me £1 if he doesn't.
Damn right.
Deal.
Here we go. I'm gonna just ring up Munich, have a chat, make sure it all smoothly goes.
He's going to be good when he finds out all you tight sods have put on him's £1.
We are on Burnett Field. I tell you what. Have you ever tried to say Burnett Field is Siri? It takes you anywhere but Burnett Field. It was the funniest. I tell you what. Right. I woke up right. Which is a good start to any day.
Where did you wake up?
When I woke up in Redditch.
Okay.
Anyway, different story.
I thought it was Reading, but
I threw up on my mate's drive and then drove off. Sorry, Adam, about that. So, but then I had the most fantastic moment this morning. Nothing rude. Nothing rude.
Nothing rude on a cooked breakfast.
That's it. I tell you what, I've just got this lottery app on my phone. I've just got it right. And I've only been doing it like 10, and I've just been getting disheartened. I've been asking the work lads, going, yeah, you know, what? How do you check your numbers? He goes, oh no, they notify you. I woke up in a hazy state to find out good news about your ticket.
Excellent. Where we're going?
Oh, I'm telling you, there's me. I was shaking like a shitting dog, going, oh my God, get in. Thinking, so anyway, I open the phone, because I'm used to this with my phone. I open it up. Well, anyway, the first number that pops up is the bleeding jackpot of where 118 million something. I was jumping up and down in the van going, I've won the lottery. And he goes, check your ticket. £3.50. I was heartbroken. Absolutely heartbroken. I was just parked up in a lay-by going, yep, not good for me. We could have been lottery winners. We could have been millionaires, Rodney. Could have been millionaires, but
there's always next week.
So
that's it.
So obviously, BSV, they've only got the 2 rounds left, so we've got 6 superbike races left. And the
so who do you think's going to win it?
Do you know what?
I'm going to...
Glenn.
I'd like Glenn to win, but I'm
like
going to. My sensible side's going to say O'Halloran because he's sensible.
I think for me, Brooks is still Brooks and Eden. Personally, I think Brooks is under more pressure than Eden.
Yes.
I really would like Josh.
Now he's an
to win
adopted
as well.
Geordie. I think I'm going to put my money on Eden.
Put another pound on it. £2. Feeling flush.
Who are you fancying? Glenn.
Let's go for Glenn. I got a pound on Glenn.
You've got to say Brooks' mind. Brooks at Brands, he was unbelievable.
Brooks is very good at Brands.
On the old tyre.
That is true.
On the old.
He did come good at the end.
I mean, he's hardly a slouch, is he? Let's
Why
be
not?
honest.
I want him to do
it's
well.
tight though, isn't it? It's funny that in most
I'm
years...
going to put a pound on Brian McCormick.
It's funny most years they have to put the show down to try and keep it artificially tight, where this year there's no showdown and it's as tight
and
as it would ever be.
That.
So
I want Glenn to win. I don't know, because I've always liked Glenn. I like Glenn. Right. Just looking at the air, but I think Jason, when it's all working, he's just faultless.
Yeah, Yamahas weren't very good at Donington last time though, and Hondas were very strong. It is a difficult one to call, and I am really looking forward to it.
And I like Josh because...
Put a pound on it. I want £2. But don't match me
I'll put a pound on... Well, who are you going with? Because I'm happy...
Glenn.
Right, I'm going to put a pound on Christian and a pound on Brooks. What are you going with?
I have to go with the O-Show.
O-Show, fair enough.
The O-Show.
All right.
So I've got Team PBM.
You've got Team PBM, and I've got a lot of money coming my way by the sounds of it, so woohoo!
Right.
I know Christian didn't win it. Obviously, adopted Geordie and all that.
Adopted Geordie. Now, let's talk MotoGP. There's actually MotoGP qualifying on today, so by the time this podcast goes out, the results will be already out.
Old news.
But MotoGP's been back to back. So
I have no idea what's going on. Who's doing
Dom,
what? All I know is
incredible. It's ridiculous.
There's 7 winners. That's all I know.
So we had 2 races at Mazzano, and then is it
Catalunya, which was when World Supers were last weekend. You know, it's just mental. It's mind blowing.
Now,
it's just
speaking of championships being close, right? We've got Dovi on 84 points. We've got Quartararo on 83 points and Vinales on 83 points. So there's 1 point between top 3 riders. Mia is on 80 points, only 3 back. Then we've got a bit of a gap, Morbidelli, but Morbidelli's massively in form at the moment.
Keep your eye on him, he's flying
he
at the minute.
And him and Jack Miller are both on 64, and then Nakagami is on 63. Yeah. So like they're all within a shout, but it's just so consistent at the moment, and different manufacturers.
I certainly don't want to be calling this one, because at the start,
another pound.
Early on, I said Dovi's going to get it. Dovi's going to get it on the consistency alone, because if someone's going to be consistently banging it in, it's Dovi. Qualified 17th today.
I know. Have you seen what he's got on his bum as well?
That's brilliant, that, isn't it? That is brilliant. We need more character. We need more stuff like that in the paddock.
It is mental. And from qualifying, which happened today, it's the Yamahas that are on form.
Those Petronas Yamahas are both.
They're 1 and 2 on the grid, and then Rossi's third.
Yeah.
We were having a bit of, as you know, all our listeners know this. We try not to have the crack beforehand, but we were having a touch of air having the crack. But what's this crack about Rossi? About next year or the following years?
He's the only man in the world that doesn't know that Rossi's confirmed his 2021 plans.
And now
I would love to spend a weekend in your head, Dom. It must be incredible.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. It's like a dark Alice in Wonderland. You know what I mean? Imagine the White Rabbit going, "Where you fucking been? You're late. You're late. Cut a tree down." Let's put your knickers on. You're a tramp.
Yeah, so Valentino Rossi is back with. He's still with Yamaha, but he's with the Petronas team. Is it been confirmed who is Quartararo going to the factory team?
Yes, they're just basically swapping on there. But Rossi still remains factory contracted, even though he's at the satellite team. If you know what I mean,
Right,
doesn't make a lot of difference. With Morbidelli, who got pole today, so it was like literally Morbidelli, Quartararo, Rossi. Like you couldn't make it up. The Rossi's just confirmed to ride the bike that's on pole and second. So.
Ideal. There we go. Fantastic, man. So what else do we know about Worlds? Jonathan Ray winning.
Yeah, so World Superbikes, just typical Johnny.
Can you get him as a guest?
I would love to.
That'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Well,
Jay's great. I interviewed him like for the first time, sort of sat down with him last year. What a sound lad he is. Well,
he doesn't live on the Isle of Man anymore, does he?
No,
he lives in.
Island.
He's back home on native soil, isn't he? So
they were
road trip.
They were at Catalonia last.
Class, I liked them a lot.
It was last weekend. They were at Catalonia. It'd be interesting to see the lap times between World Superbikes and MotoGP 1 week apart, because obviously it would be a real good comparison. But just the top three in each race: Johnny Ray, Scott Redding, Chaz Davies. The Super Pole race, or whatever you call it, Vandermark won on the Yamaha with Johnny second and Loris Baz on Mick Shanley's Loris Baz in third. And then race 2, Chaz Davies got the win, followed by Vandermark and
Garrett Gerloff,
the Yank. So the American first podium in World Superbikes as well, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Now, do you know the? Have you been following AMA this year or Moto America?
When BEAUBIER wins everything, it's too tiresome.
I was just about to say, I would absolutely love to see BEAUBIER in either BSB or
Say
World
that name
Superbikes. BEAUBIER.
BEAUBIER.
He literally, he's on the.
Imagine chatting up a lass like that. What's the name? BEAUBIER, baby.
It's the.
Do you want to go boom boom with the BEAUBIER? Hey.
And that's the headline. That's the title.
Boom boom with BEAUBIER.
That's the title for the.
That's what happens after you go boom boom that way.
Boom boom with a BEAUBIER.
Now,
drop the mic.
he is the cream of the crop over there at the moment. Now, I would just like to say a quick shout out to our English contingent. Bradley Ward, he had a big crash.
Smashed his wrist and all sorts.
Yeah, but he's had a bit of surgery, so sending our best wishes.
He'll be listening to the pod, won't he? He listens to the pod. There you go. And his American fiance or girlfriend or something like that will be going, what are them two idiots saying? In this case, 3 idiots. There you go.
Where's World Superbikes next?
I haven't a clue. Do you know what?
You've turned into me here.
Do you know what'll happen is on about Tuesday I have to email the Daily Star to tell them what I've got coming, and I'll look at the calendar and I'll go, we're there this week. It's so much going on.
Do you know Daily Star do Rudy photos in 3 on page 3 anymore? Daily Star. Do any papers do any Rudy photos?
Do you know? I was just about to say. Do you know? How, as a journalist, people will be interested in this. As a motorsport journalist,
is there a dirty page on page 3?
As a motorsport journalist, is it your choice about which championship you cover and stuff, or do you get told we need a one on like MotoGP?
No, I get sort of. Well, I was employed to cover MotoGP, British Superbikes, World Superbikes, and the TT. And we often do a bit about Macau as well.
So have you got a free reign each week on? So, like for example, if you wanted to do one on Sugar Cube and Chasing the Racing Lads, what would the main editor say?
Not even Dominic winning the highly anticipated, highly competitive Class 3 C class.
British champion Dominic Herbertson.
I tell you what, I'm going to make Billy Bolt look like Mrs. Billy Bolt after this weekend. I'm telling you, I'm just going to go boom. You watch.
Well, the Daily Star.
Sugar Cube in my corner.
Did you see Billy Bolt?
Laughing.
Billy Bolt wiped the floor with everyone down at Hawkston and the enduro thing the other weekend. And then he was out. If you follow his Instagram, by the way, have you been watching his vlogs?
I tell you what, he's the funniest lad ever. I think he's just the most. He is what the motorsport needs. He's just such an entertainer. He's a proper entertainer.
So
You've got to follow him. You've got to go follow him on Instagram. Please
check out his vlogs. Just type in Billy Bolt, and he just carries the camera everywhere, and he's always his relationship with Tommy Sills so funny.
Proper entertaining, like. But we'll have to try and get him back on the show and
definitely
hijack his fameness. Madness.
In terms of road racing, there's pretty much after Cookstown finished, there's pretty much nothing.
Yeah,
did you get to see any of the coverage from Cookstown?
Well, because it didn't go out in the last race and the weather wasn't I think the weather stopped play. So the biggest problem, like green light, the racing was like all over the place. It was like a wet race and a dry race, and you're like, well, what's going on in what order? I tell you what, though, Darrell Tweed, he had a big crash. Not a big. Let me just restart that again. he had a crash in the wet. He was coming down the hill, and I tell you what, I kid you not, he's the unluckiest man ever. He's cracked his pelvis. He's made a right mess of it. He's gone down the road now. The runoff into this corner, steep downhill, there is literally a straight road to the left and an open field where the organisers have kindly cut out the hedge to let riders go through. He has gone beelining straight for the fence post, even though it's padded up, phone a car. But the problem is, that corner was designed for a little bit of a slower crash. So if he went down, really he wouldn't even enter the field. He lost it coming over the top. So he's come over the jump down and the thing's just gone whoop. Lost the rear, and he's gone skittling down like on his arse, and he's just gone crack. I tell you what, there was another thing they showed. Adam McLean's crash.
Did he crash at the weekend?
Oh no, Tam Reggie last year, and he lost his arm.
He
made a right. I mean, he's had the whole year out, and there's another rider, like another roads rider in like a stock 600. He is absolutely flying. He's come back from a serious injury, and he's really put on a show, and he's putting in some seriously good times. But I tell you what, Tam Reggie, now that is a road race. I've only ever done it once, and regrettably, I've only ever done it once. But what a circuit. Adam McLean, they showed the footage, onboard footage. He's tipped in that slight bit of early, upset the front, and I mean, he's gone straight into the hedge, but the hedge has grabbed it and the bike's flipped, and you can just see the camera angle, and you're thinking, he is lucky is the perfect explanation for him. He's lucky he's still here. That's the blunt of it. So to come back from that injury and to be able to go to Cookstown, he was absolutely flying on the thing. Fortunately, had a bit of an off in the open race, just lost the rear on the ZX10, but Super Sport and Super Twin, untouchable, absolutely untouchable. But like going back to Darrell Tweed, he's definitely one of them riders that and he wouldn't mind me saying this, he's always been underrated. Now, a good team have put him on a good bike, like got a brand new R6. The McAdoo team put him on the Super Twin, and he was absolutely on the chase. And the unfortunate thing, he had an off, but that was just the weather and everything like that. It was just unfortunate. But what I'm gutted for is he's only had one crack at one road race this year, and you think he really shined at that one event, and sadly people may only just see that one event. You know, he needed a couple more races like Moy or Tam Reggie, to really go, let's keep an eye on Darrell Tweed. But no doubt he'll be back and absolutely chomping at the bit to get going.
Oh, speaking of having a year out, I'm just taking over the podcast here now and asking questions. What's your thoughts on, obviously, how will the TT, for example, recover from missing a year, as in lap times? If we've missed this year, we don't know if we're going to all be back together next year for any more. How... When you lot do go back, are you playing catch up, or is it just like, hey, it's like we've never been away?
No one's gained an advantage.
No.
Which is the important thing. Now, like, when we started this, it's all about trying to be positive about the sport and everything like that. And this is dangerous territory for me, what I'm about to say. And I'm not slagging it off. I'm going to be very pessimistic at this exact moment. It is not looking good.
No, this is why I'm asking, because I said I'm the same. I feel the same.
That breaks my heart. It really breaks my heart, because I am a road racer, and I base my entire my entire life around this event. And unfortunately, it's not looking good. And there'll be nothing like. I hope they almost scrub it earlier. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We've all got reviews. Opinions are like arseholes, everyone's got one, haven't they? It's like this, that, and everything like that. But the fact is, the rules are the rules at the moment.
Them's the rules.
That's it, and it's a bit like, what I've heard is they're not letting anyone in the Isle of Man till March, April. Costs £2 million to set the place up, and it takes 3 months to do it.
But you couldn't have any newcomers, because they're not going to be able to come and do any laps with Milky, for example, like they traditionally do, if people aren't allowed on the island.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But don't get me wrong. I think, you see, the Isle of Man, the revenue of it, they can't set up a 37-mile-long lap without people there. It's not like they can have a closed situation, a circuit. I tell you what, the Macau thing, I love Macau, don't get me wrong, but it's not the TT. I would quarantine in a box to go to the TD. I would just sit there for 2 weeks and just then go racing. That's how much it means to us. But it's just not looking good. And my worry is and I'm not sure if this is really quite common knowledge, because it's a self-efficient island, it always comes down to a vote. They have this vote every other, every other year or something like that.
Is that in their parliament?
In their parliament. And I tell you what, it's not 80% we want the TT. It's 51%, 52% we want the TT. Half of that island do not want the Isle of Man TT to run. And the Isle of Man can be self-efficient without the TT. Now, the problem is we're all bike fans. We're all thinking, how can they do that?
Yeah.
How can they do that? Now, don't get me wrong, they're booling in nearly 60 million. So you're thinking, well, give us 2 million, I'll give you 58 million back. It's a no-brainer. But that island can be self-efficient without the TT. And if we have another year off, they can prove that.
I remember
they can now that 48% people saying, oh no. It always comes down to the money. It doesn't matter what team we work alive. You shake the money tree. That's the thing, and that's what always gets the TT.
Are you worried about the total future of that?
The total future of the TT,
Bloody
and
hell.
that is now. Yes, I had a few drinks last night. Yes, I'm a little bit sensitive, and I'm being a little bit hard. But my God.
But that's just because you love it so much, because it's such a big deal.
I am scared. I'm generally scared, because I think if they get the idea in the head, they're always going to go back to the safety card. You can't. This generation is 100% behind the red tape. That's good. That's bad in some places, but if that island shows that I can do it, and now don't get me wrong, you pull out one weed, another one grows. Weed's the wrong terminology for that, but what I mean is, the Isle of Wight could be the new thing, but the problem is the history that place has. It's steeped in it. It is a motorsport icon. It is the world's greatest motorcycle event. Motorsport event. Every person in the world has heard of that little rock in the middle of the Irish Sea where a bunch of psychopaths get on motorcycles and go as fast as we can. And
if someone said to me, and I've said this before, you've got to cover one, I'd pack the whole lot in to do the TT. That's the truth. That's going to get me sacked, I'm sure, somewhere. But I would. I mean, I'm with you on it.
But like for me, trying to gain sponsors or trying to get rides with people or anything like that, my one sellable asset is the roads. And the TT is the centre of the circle, and they all agree with that. So you think, well, when the TT got scrubbed, everything else fell like dominoes. Now the Ulster was in financial bother before this, thinking, well, where the hell are they going to get money? Now if the Ulster goes, that'll be amazing, because it's very similar, it's very attractive. But at the moment, 2021 needs to happen, and that's me being realistic. You always got to plan for the worst to try and prepare yourself for the best, if you know what I mean. And
just looking at the sport in general, obviously the longer this goes on and the more races behind closed doors, it's getting grimmer and grimmer. And obviously I want to be optimistic as I possibly can, but the whole thing turns on sponsorship money, and at the moment the whole structure of the racing is being well and truly eroded away. And obviously these new restrictions that we've got are in for like at least 6 months, I think. And you think over Christmas, now I know there's more important things than racing, and maybe people aren't seeing the families and whatever, but it's not good for our sport at the moment.
The thing is, the sport will never go away. That's the truth. Motorcycle and sport in general is always persevered. But the problem is, we've always talked about the glory days on this. They've been and gone. We're going kind of like downhill a bit now. The problem was it was starting to
glory days.
The cheddar side of it. But no, I mean
there'll be more people earning more money right now in racing than there ever has been.
Aye. Oh, but well. And anyway, that so it's like it kind of went downhill a bit, like in my book. This is my opinion. And then now it was just starting to rise up. The competition, the classes, the rules, the BSB, the TT. It was just all starting to come back in, and it's just like God.
I honestly think we could look back at 2020 and think of look at all the championships, and I think we could easily be living it through the glory days right now.
Oh, totally. No, I totally agree. No, don't get me wrong.
If you win the championship, this will be the glorious days. Don't worry, it'll be the glorious of times.
No, but like I say, like our point prior, this has delivered the best racing. Yes, I totally agree with that. I'm talking about a financial stability in it.
Yeah.
I just think it's a bit like, oh, for God's sake, and it's just going for a bit of a lull. But motorcycle racing will never go away. It's too raw. It's too passionate.
Because of the passion side of it, the people involved are gritty, and no matter what it takes, we will get through it. But it's going to take a hit.
I have got another.
Like Stuart Higgs has still got this show going. You know, that's true, because
you've got to give credit where credit's due as well.
Of course,
without any fans as well, running the show and keeping it going. If we finish off this season and get 6 full rounds with 18 superbike races, if you'd said that in like June to us or whatever, well, you would have bit your hand off for that. So
it's no, but like I said, like through this difficult when they just shut the door on everyone. You were writing a magazine. How were you going to write a magazine about motorcycles, without that? But you persevere. It's the persevering nature. It's like even the motocross boys. You know what I mean? Yes, I've had to stamp down on the British side of things, but the club scene, it will always persevere the sport, and that is always the optimistic side of it. We will endure. We'll fight them on the sea, on the beaches.
Now, speaking of
damn you nuts.
Other championships, we've covered pretty much everything other than club racing, and we're obviously joined by the club racing expert here. What's occurring? What's been happening in the club racing world?
Well, we've had a couple of Tin Pot championships won by some non-entities.
Pretty much, that's the crack there.
I'm not talking about you, Mark Bridger. I'm talking about Dominic Herbertson.
Can I just say
I'll get my head kicked in.
Do you know Captain Insano? I've made a deal with Captain Insano that
you've kept this quiet, young man.
If he, soon as he gets his first podium at Olivers Mount, we're going to have him on the show. He's going to get the prize of being a guest.
That's brilliant. There you go. Just put some pressure on him. There you go. No, he did really well at Cookstown, mind.
Did he get a podium as well?
No, I think. Oh, he's going to hate me if I've got this wrong. I think he was in the 4th place. I don't think he got in the podium. So I'm not.
Or front row.
No, Domtos tend to get things wrong.
I get wrong thing all the time. It's a perfect thing to hide behind, a perfect shield of idiocy. So there you go. But no, I think he got 4th, but we will correct that next time round.
And I see, obviously, you did a bit of club racing at Thundersport. Was it Mallory Park or a few weeks ago?
You did Mallory, didn't you?
Yeah.
Was that Thundersport?
Yeah, that was Thundersport. So
who was winning those races?
I tell you what, James Hind had I tell you what, he had a crash this weekend, Alton Park.
Did he?
I thought he wasn't out. Was he out at all?
He had a concussion.
That was at Olivers Mount, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was less than. We're not saying that. We're not saying that.
I thought he had a concussion at Olivers Mount, and therefore he missed Alton Park. He wasn't.
I heard
he's been at Alton Park today, and he's binned it.
Oh yeah,
today.
Yeah, that's 2 weeks after.
Oh, so he's clear.
I thought you meant last.
I thought he was at BSB. Did he
see, this is why Dom's a liability.
Oh, thank God for that. James, was he all right?
On the 1,000 or the 600?
You'll never get him on here now. You'll never get him on now.
He's a lovely lad. He's just busy all the time. I know. He wants to come on the show, but he's just, as you can tell, he's out every weekend. He's just busy all the time. So we'll have to.
Speaking of Alton Park this weekend, Thundersport, my boss Phil Crow was out there. Now
it's on my list to talk about.
One of the benefits of riding for Crow Performance this year is that we've
got a bouncer.
We've got a bouncer, but also we're always developing where we're at. And when I'm not riding, the weeks in between, Phil's going out, and we're constantly talking about, like, I've got things that I really want to try on the bike, but going into a BSB weekend, do I really want to be changing the bike massively? Obviously not. So Phil is very kindly going and doing lots of development work in between the rounds.
He must hate it, mustn't he?
And we're always finding gains, and it's weird, if you looked at me and Phil, the difference in our stature and whatever.
No,
is
I can't really point that out. Would you like to point it out, Chrissy? Would you like to tell our viewers? What's the difference?
He's basically twice the size, but in terms of the settings that we actually come to on the bike are really similar.
Really, that is interesting.
And like lap times aren't massively different. Obviously, he's a fast lad, Phil. So he got 2 second places today, but close second places
and 2 fastest laps. Although I didn't write the times.
And I have got his. I was speaking to Phil, and unfortunately, he couldn't get any the tyres that he wanted, so he was on these like extra hard tyres, so his lap times weren't as strong as what he can do around there.
It was a cold weekend though, wasn't it? It's been a cold weekend,
but obviously he's helping me, and I made some engine braking maps last weekend, which like sort of tailored to Alton Park, and he tried them, and it was definitely a step in the right direction. And then he tailed them a bit more. So we're always helping each other, working in the right direction, and that obviously provides Phil. He can then provide a service to BMW riders as Crow Performance.
Yeah, definitely.
And people can basically pay Phil to get the setup that I've got basically at BSB, and it's proven that it's
Are you on commission?
You two could ride like those.
Yeah. I'm not on a commission at the moment, but I
planted the seed in his head now. He's like, right.
No, it was. I noticed he was out today, and he was up against Lee Williams again. He was gone back, but it was like the good old days.
For good.
No, he's a local tracks, open parks. So
2 wins.
2 wins.
Right.
Big Phil. First was like 0.1, then it was 0.3. So they were very close.
Where is Lee Williams in BSB? Because he's done a full BSB season this year.
No one's done a full season. He's Stock Thou.
Stock Thousand, yeah.
Has he been out in Stock Thou?
Yeah. I've seen his bike getting wheeled about. So
I don't know if he's done them all.
Because he was a Michelin man for years, wasn't he? Michelin tyres, and then he's gone, obviously, the Pirellis for the controlled series.
He was on... Was he on last year? Because he wasn't with Michelin last year, so I don't know who it was. He's a good rider, Lee Williams. I mean, he is. It's nice to see him and Crow back at it again. If you just thrown in John Ingram in there, would have had an absolute party, I tell you. But he's. I don't know, has he got any points this year? He's struggled a bit this year, but I think it's a big step for anyone.
Of course it is.
And when you he hasn't had a full season.
Exactly.
And this is what I was saying before. People are coming in, starting their full season in Stock 1000 in August. I mean, it would... Come on, it's not an easy thing to do.
If you're going to start, it's a perfect way to start, really, at the back end of this thing.
Just speaking of what I was saying there about Crow Performance providing a service, I think Phil's actually started helping Ian Hutchinson, and if you've seen where Ian Hutchinson's been all year,
name drop.
And Hutchie had a fantastic race. Funnily enough, that little group stole all the TV coverage, and I didn't get any TV coverage
really
for a race, but it was a brilliant race.
And they thought you were Fraser Rogers as
well.
Hold
on. Where's my violin? I brought it in for this moment.
Did you see the battle for 7th place was between Jordan Weaven, Billy McConnell, Ian Hutchinson and Tom Neve, and they were killing each other. Billy McConnell, last couple of laps, round the outside of Ireland, round the outside of Shell Oils. It was unbelievable. If that was the race for the win, it would be one of the best races of the season.
It's such a good race that they had to put Chrissy crossing the line in a little box. But then they really annoyed me because it was all the cool down lap. They just showed Fraser Rogers and they were like, "Oh yeah, great race from Chrissy Rouse," and I was like, "You're showing the wrong rider." And then eventually someone must have realised, and we got like a little shot of you. And I'm thinking, who are you waving to? There's nobody there.
No, Marshall's.
There's loads of waving, and I'm thinking, who are they waving
Just
to?
Another quick shout out. Braden Elliott got a podium, which was phenomenal on Saturday after he came over from Australia. And to be fair to Braden, he came with quite a pedigree from Australia and started out well, but he kind of lost his way a little bit, and he sort of set his own team up, and it looked like he sort of hit a bit of a wall and regularly outside the points, but he's just kept on going, kept believing in himself, kept persevering, and to see him get his confidence back up, doing some club racing, winning some club racing, and to get a podium in National Superstock 1000, you know how competitive it is.
Yes,
and to see the lads he's beaten and whatever on his own bike, hats off to him, and you could see how emotional he was on the podium, and fair play to him. It was great to see.
Good lad.
Mega.
Going back to Thundersport, Mike Norbury, who broke my mum and dad's chair. That chair is now known as the Mike Norbury chair.
Fantastic. Leaving your mark,
it's
son.
like, oh yeah, is that the Norbury chair? Well, can't sit on that one.
DC's racing.
He had a third
Fantastic.
today, and then what happened in the last race, Dom? Do you know?
He went for a cartwheel.
Did he?
No, but the thing is, I tell you what, them DC lads, Mike's landed on his feet, deservedly so. Nicest guy. Chrissy fancies his girlfriend. Smoking hot. But it's he's proper landed on his feet, and he's got the right lads pushing him in the right direction. Like, no pressure, don't worry. Mike puts so much pressure on him. When he believes in himself, he can do the times, and he really was. His times are going down and down and down and down. Unfortunately, I think the cold weather just caught him out.
He was actually at BSB last week on the Super
Sport
bike as well. So he's
Super
Sport bike BSB, and then Stock 1000. He's on the Suzuki in Thundersport this weekend, but getting loads of track time. And fair play. We actually did actually, it's the only podcast we've ever done that hasn't actually went out on air.
It's the best podcast ever.
The DC Racing lads were absolute absolutely leathered, and we got them in here at Scarborough on the night time, and
mint.
we attempted to do a podcast, and it basically turned into them just calling each other nonces, and just.
I dare you to get hold of that and put it out, Dom. I dare you.
I tell you, we're going to release it in our wills, years and years and years.
I mean, the crack was funny, but it just wasn't a podcast.
I really need to have a listen.
Put it this way, this will shock you. I couldn't get a word in.
Good God.
I was laughing the entire thing. Chrissy's trying to control it.
The best bit was, basically, do you know how the sponsor Bradley Perry? Mm-hmm. So Chris Barnes, it's Dean and Chris was saying basically that he's had him on his radar for a long time, and he said, I've been watching Brad really closely for 8 years, and the co-owner Dean turned around and said, he's only 20, what are you, a nonce?
Honestly, they are absolutely outstanding lads, but the crack was phenomenal. But we're gonna definitely get them in sober. But I tell you what, they're just as good sober.
Do you know what? Fair play to them lads, because at a time right now when sponsorship's so tight and whatever, and they're providing such a platform for young talent to come through, and we need lads like that who are, or teams like that who are putting a lot of investment, a lot of money for the right reasons. They're passionate about the sport. They want to see young lads having an opportunity, and
they laugh all the time.
They've got a great team, very professional on track, and let the hair down off track. And
the work hard. Sorry, is it work hard, party harder? They're brilliant. Like, they are brilliant.
Speaking of young lads doing canny, your old mate Daniel Swift got a third today.
Hey, very
it's
good.
In the CB 500s behind the Whittaker Leaning thing.
I tell you what, I wouldn't.
If you could ever get Josh Leaning on your podcast, but you would probably shut you down, so it's probably not a good idea. He's another one. You should do a drunken podcast with Josh Leaning. Absolutely hilarious.
I think we should have
seriously.
Chrissy, if this goes up, I think we should have I know that this is a great show. It's a little bit rude and it's all
after
about
hours,
the crack, but an off the scene one where we just it's smoke cigarettes and just.
I'm in there. Yeah. Chasing the racing later. Later
Chasing the racing after dark.
Show.
After dark, yeah.
Absolutely newt.
It's like Bijou and Bijou After Dark next door.
Bijou After Dark. But young Daniel Swift was
very
your mechanic's son.
Yeah, Mark Murphy. Now
the
CB 500th championship at Thundersport is mega. There's there must be 100. There must be 100 bikes. At some point we should get a couple of CB 500s and maybe do a bit.
I want to take your front wheel out, and then I'm up for that. There you go.
But I tell you what, a little shout out before we go. I had some beautiful custom paddock stands made for us this weekend. My sponsor Alan Towell brought them down. You paid for them from a guy called Gavin Williams, and brought the G-Tech. The business is called G-Tech. It's on Instagram and Facebook and stuff.
G-Tech,
but honestly, the quality of these paddock stands, I think they're expensive, but they're a premium product. And he actually had my logo. I sent him my logo.
I was about to say, you misspelled it, don't you? When you actually look at the logo.
Don't you talk to me about misspellings, Mr. Notes.
No, he's misspelled it.
What, my name?
Yeah, no, I go have a look at it properly. I swear on my life.
He can't have misspelled it. It was my
logo.
logo.
I'm telling you. No, but your logo's got Chrissy written in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's misspelled it.
And anyway,
doesn't matter.
I'm pretty sure he hasn't, but I put the photo on Facebook the other day. Nobody's mentioned that, but yeah. Anyway, mega bit of kit, and I said I would give him a shout out. So
can I just have another mention?
You did
of
spell
clubs,
it correctly, by the way.
Please?
Oh yeah.
Can I just have a shout out to? And this isn't my scene. But I want to have a shout out to the girls' race. There was a No Limits girls' race recently. 26 bikes on the grid of girls.
We actually got Lissy, your columnist.
Our Lissy got a 13th.
She actually asked me and Dom to dress up and be brolly boys for her. But
did you turn her down? You absolute.
We were busy.
I'm over the moon. I had no idea this was happening.
It was when we were at Olivers Mount.
She's got no shame, Lissy. She'll ask you out. Honestly,
he would look alright in a bikini. Me, on the other hand, it'll be scarring.
No, but yeah, they have this. They started it last year. I believe it was a lady rider called Gemma Viles. I believe started it. If it was somebody else, I do apologise.
26, is it?
And they did it last year, and they got the lads. It sort of just mushroomed a bit. Susie Ellison got really behind it because obviously Dean Ellison's involved, and I think she was the one who spearheaded. Let's get the lads to dress up. So the lads were all in tutus on the grid and what have you.
I did that actually last year. I think for the first one.
He just did it for fun. And then they had another one this year.
The things you find out on a podcast.
I think it was Caleb Barrington won.
Very good.
But is it 26 bikes? You know,
That's a strong grid. I'm not being funny. That's a strong grid in any race.
It's fantastic for the sport, isn't it? And do you know what? It's like at the weekend, my little niece came down, and Jenny Timmuth was a few garages down, and it's got to be so inspiring for a young lady when they look, because it's almost like it's very male dominated sport, obviously, and it's very easy for young kids to kind of cap their expectations on that's what men do type of thing. But for a little girl to look up and see like
Jenny
Timmuth, or there's obviously lots of good examples in leathers and going out and doing such, you know, a dangerous fast
portions.
Yeah, and getting stuck in. That's got to be so inspiring for youngsters. And
bring back Sarah Boyes, the road racer.
Oh yeah, Sarah Boyes is.
She's engaged to Sean Anderson, a road racer. So she's.
And what two lovely people they are. They're absolutely mint, aren't they?
Come on, Sarah, get back on a bike and
salt of the earth.
I love it's. If you talk to Sarah, she's just so into it. The whole thing. It's just like.
She's mint.
But she's like she's brilliant. I've got a lot of time for Sarah Boyes. But I forgot what I was going to say.
Now, just to finish off the club race, and what's left of the championships?
I don't know. They're all sort of tailing off. Can I also mention the sidecars? Darley Moore has a full grid of sidecars for next week or the week after, because the sidecar lads, they've gone crackers and they've really worked together. Yeah, they've
and that's next weekend.
Oh, the weekend after, I think it might be.
Is that the same time as your Donington?
No, he's next weekend.
Your next weekend, Darley. No, I might put a passenger out. Wait, I'm desperate to get back on a sidecar. Desperate.
Could have gotten you out with Harry if he wasn't on the bloody island. It'd been perfect. He's going to take Lissy out as well.
There always seems to be a last minute shout out for a passenger. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it.
Well, no, because they cancelled the championships, and they like Lee Crawford is like. He got behind it and he said, let's all make sure when they open the clubs, we all go to the same places. He says, it's pointless. 4 of us going to Bemsey, 2 of us going to wherever. So there was a few of them all just kind of said, right. So the grids have been really big and they've all had some good fun and they've battled out. And the photographs of like Croft we had from the Battle of Britain, I think, and just sidecars back out, and it's really good to see. You know,
have you ever been in a sidecar?
I've not. It's something
I
would love to do.
I've been in a one.
What, with your passenger or?
I would do both. It's Kirkup racing at the weekend.
I have no idea.
That would be a good it would be a good shout out for you. Usually passenger for Kirkup.
Only when he knackers his previous man. I'm just gonna text my man Sugar Tits, find out the crack.
And just before we wrap,
it's a no. That was a quick reply.
Just before we wrap things up, I've some really, really sad news, I'm afraid.
Yes.
I seen on social media this week a good friend of mine, Chris Green, road racer and races at Stock 1000, has sadly lost his fiancée, Chelsea, and beautiful people. You know, as a couple
are the
amazing people, you know, like I said, the road racing and super stock,
proper tight family team, you know what I mean? It was just like
seeing them over, and when we were blasting Almeria, they were there, and I think it was first time Chelsea had been on track, and you know, really, really living life to the full. And just, you know, send best wishes. I know thoughts and comments and whatever are it's not going to help the situation for Chris right now, but just feel so sorry for him and him and the family and all the friends. And I really hope that.
Did she work as a nurse or something? She's like, this is the thing, because I mean, she's stunning. Like, it's you know, it's always easy to say these easy things. Oh, you know, but she was a beautiful, stunning girl. She was a nurse. She cared for people. It's just
life's just so unfair.
Just so unfair.
She could drink like a fish as well. I met her at the Northwest at the Angar. Like all of them, it was mint crack, man. It was absolutely mint crack.
Beautiful person on the inside and out, and I just hope you know, good send off, and thoughts and prayers with the family and friends.
Yeah, there we go.
And other than that, I think that wraps today's show.
You're just coming up. When are you next out then? So you're next out next weekend
at Donington Park. I've got two races. One on Saturday, one on Sunday, and obviously BSB have 3 races.
Yes,
and then after that, it's just one race at Brands Hatch to wrap the championship up.
So I mean, technically, the next time we're sat here, we could be in the presence of another British champion.
National.
I mean, I don't think I could cope it too.
The pressure's on now. One British.
Actually,
one
you're right. He is national.
and obviously, I'm going to win Towel motocross racing tomorrow with Team Sugar Tits. So
good luck with that.
There's also you haven't confirmed whether or not you're riding with us at Mallory yet as well.
When is that then?
Halloween.
I'm there.
Oh, spooks.
I'm there. Sign me up. I'm doing. Is that the same time as Thundersport Cadwell?
They'll not be going till Halloween, I don't
Because I'm doing that with the Cowton team.
Ah.
Just remember.
I'll check that out, but obviously...
Super 600
You
and Super
wouldn't
Twin.
believe the amount of people who are desperate to ride at Free Tech Endurance. It's like, we've had... Oh, I heard someone said Tom Booth Amos wants to ride for us. It's like, and I was like, well... and then someone else said Garside's literally elbowed his way in, and it's just like,
It's all good.
we've only got one seat left because it's a 6 hour.
I'm there.
And obviously,
I'm there. I'm signed up.
Dom was our early choice.
Oh, God.
Remember at the start of the year, though, Chrissy couldn't do it because he was
He's
signed
full
at
factory,
Kawasaki,
isn't
wasn't he?
He's full. That's it. Full factory Chrissy doing the business, dishing out the portions. Hoorah! Right, I'm bored. Bored of your crack. Let's tidy up the show.
I'm sick of looking at your face, Dom. To be honest,
let's go home.
Take care, and we'll catch up. Are you coming down to Donington next week?
Yeah. We'll get a pod motocross trophies. Have I mentioned that?
Excellent. We'll get a podcast sorted for then. So take care, everyone. Have a good week, and we'll catch up soon.
watch yourselves.
Love you all. Stay dirty.
Click, buy, deliver with the 2-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester, Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chersin, the Racing.